Hello, Gemini and Gemini Ascendant. Thank you for joining me for your 2017 astrology. And the best way to listen to this is to think about the overview for your life, for what you want in 2017. So during this recording, you're going to hear a bunch of dates. I'll have them listed below. But if you take into that the big picture, then you can go into the little details and be able to use the planetary energy in your own personal life, not only to know what to expect, but also in order to work with the planetary guides to create what you want. So we go into 2017. You are Mercury ruled, and that is one of the reasons why there's a lot of mutability or changeability in your life. Because every time Mercury goes retrograde, it can impact you in a subtle way more than others, because it is the message from Mercury is to, okay, stop, rethink things, and is there anything I want to change my mind about? Now, whenever Mercury goes retrograde, it's going to go retrograde in different sectors, placements of your personal world. Okay, in astrology we call it houses. And this year there will be 4 Mercury retrogrades. We begin the year with a Mercury retrograde. That's not such a big deal. It just means the year can get off to a little slower start. It goes direct on the 8th. What it means is that the first week in January, people could still be out of work or taking holiday time or just not really with it yet. But on a larger context, larger level, the Mercury retrogrades for you will be going retrograde in your intuitive houses. So this is the first three retrogrades. This is a year for you to develop your intuition. It's a very strong message that way. And that if in developing your intuition and understanding what's deep inside me, then when the other major influences come along, it's much easier. And there's some very positive influences this year. Some of you, Gemini, have been going through perhaps a tough time the last couple of years because of the placement, because of what has been going up in the sky between Saturn and Neptune. And basically they had been in a very difficult position with each other and connected to your, to some of the Gemini charts, depending where your sun was. And it can create havoc and can create blocks. But this year, there is tremendous amount of harmony considering what we've been through the last 3, 4, 5 years. And what that means is out of the 13 major aspects are the mathematical angles the planets are making together. And out of the 13 major ones, 9 of them are with the planet Jupiter. And Jupiter is considered the great benefic, the planet of luck, the planet of opportunity, the planet of fortune. And that is helping 2017 be easier. Of course, you have your own personal chart, but in general, it's helping the flow of the energy be easier. So keep that in mind as we go through the different cycles, the different seasons here. And so we enter into the first season, January, with Mercury retrograde. Then it shifts direct, and then boom, in February, we have 2 eclipses. And eclipses are what makes things happen. They pop things up. Think of an eclipse. It goes dark, then it goes light. And so the light gets switched on. And you can notice things. If you've ever been in a movie theater or a room, a lecture hall, and you're just paying attention sort of to the surroundings, and the light goes off, it's like, oh my gosh, what happened? And the light comes back on. You're more aware because there was a momentary darkness. And it brings up that sense of hey, what's going on here? And that's what eclipses do, and they do make things happen. And for you, the eclipses, the the solar eclipse in February, which is the 26th, is reminiscent. It goes back to the September 1st energy. It's the final pattern that's been going on for the last year and a half. So something can come back up that refers back to September time. Now, it does happen in your 10th house of career. So there's this illumination, hey, what else do I want with my career, my life? And then the patterns of the eclipses for the next year and a half are switching because the node, the south node, north node is switching into Leo Aquarius. In the next year and a half, so on the 10th of February, there will be a lunar eclipse highlighting the Aquarian Leo axis. And the Aquarian Leo axis for you is about learning. What do I know? What knowledge do I want to share with others? So it's inspiring the teacher in you to come out. And think of that in a very, very broad term. And inspiring to learn more. So it's the beginning of a year and a half cycle. But remember the undercurrent, there's an undercurrent that's going on of using your intuition of, well, what really will be helpful for me to learn. And then we move into March, and March is very important time as Venus will go retrograde. And she's going retrograde in the sector of your chart, or sector of your world, that represents friendship. So there's this rethinking of friendships. Now, it also can mean that friends come back to you that you haven't heard from, that what happened to so-and-so? What's so-and-so doing? So there can be this return of friendships that happen. And it can be return of friendships with that have been lovers also, since Jupiter will be spending most of your year in the house that represents romance and love affairs, but it's more than that. It also represents connecting with what makes you happy, connecting with your hobbies, what you enjoy to do. That isn't about work. Life, sometimes we just have a job to pay the bills, and then there's what we love to do. And so this is the year of expansion for that, and you'll really start to feel this, especially by the end of March, and then through the rest of the year. And as the end of March, Jupiter connects with Pluto. Now, Jupiter did connect with Pluto in December, or November 24th. And a lot of these energies in 2017, they were what I call set up. The first aspect happened at the end of 2016. So it was a precursor, a little hint from the universe of what to start thinking about. And Jupiter-Pluto is big. What do I want big? What do I want that's big in my life, that's meaningful for me, that I can feel passionate about, and I can feel and connect with my confidence to go after it? It's like, why not me? Why can't I have that whatever that I've always dreamt of? Why not? And then when we move into April, Venus will go direct on the 15th. But she's going direct from Pisces, and she's connected with Saturn, which goes direct at a critical degree, in which you might want to listen to one of my other mundane global reports about at a critical degree. But on a personal level, what it means for you is that there could be something that comes up with work where you're reassessing whether you're happy at work and whether or not you want to continue doing the work that you want to do or not. But then it moves direct, so the clarity can come. Now, granted, in April is another one of those Mercury retrograde times, which is rethinking, but rethinking, connecting with your intuition. And part of this is rethinking the benefits that you may or may not be getting from work. So it all ties in together. When we go into the May time, there's Uranus and Saturn, okay, are going to be in trine, and then it happens again in November. But there's this beautiful trine energy between Saturn and Uranus. And yes, Saturn has been opposite your sign in your house of other people and partnerships. So it's been asking you to be serious about how much you're giving out versus how much you're getting in. What are the right people to connect with for you? And not in a selfish way, just as like, there's only so much time. There's only so much time in life, right? And sometimes we grow out of relationships. So there's been that Saturn energy going on. And if you've been doing your quote unquote Saturn homework, right? Saturn is where we have to put some discipline into something or boundaries around something. Then the Uranian energy comes and things really start to flow. They really start to move forward for you. And it's connected with flowing with relationships and friendships. It's a very beautiful pattern that's showing up for you. Now, in May, we also have another energy that's connected with Jupiter and Neptune. And it's a little bit more subtle, because Jupiter will be going direct. And so Jupiter is very, very strong going direct. And again, it's in your house of what do I love to do, and, romance, emphasizing bringing romance, bringing time for you to enjoy life, enjoy the things you love to do. And then Neptune that month also goes retrograde. And so when Neptune goes retrograde, and because it's in your 10th house or sector of work, there's that pull from the universe to say, what really would be my ideal life, how I'm spending my daylight, how I'm spending my life, what is ideal for me. Now, as we go through this time frame of into July and August, we come back into the eclipse season. August is the next set of very strong eclipses, again highlighting an access that is, what is it that I know, what is it that I don't know, and what else do I want to know? And so ideas, even if it's little things, is like, what makes my life more convenient if I knew this? What is it that, do I want to go take some classes? Do I want to do this? And it's also activating, getting on the move. Really, that can be figuratively or literally. I want to travel. I want to move around. Maybe I actually even want to move, pick up my residence and move from here to here, because I want a larger vision. I want to be able to see life in a larger context, a larger viewpoint. And as we move into the September time, there's a strong pull with Pluto, because Pluto goes direct at the very end of the month. And that energy that Pluto is activating once again. Oh, and by the way, that third set of the Mercury retrograde also happens in the August time frame. That is saying, what is it that I want to know? What is it that I want to learn? Do I go back to school? Do I move? Do I travel? Use your intuition, because the Mercury retrograde is in the intuitive part of your chart. Now, granted, all of these Mercury retrogrades are starting in earth signs and they're going back into fire signs. And what that means is that when it retrogrades back to move forward, it's moving forward from a fire sign, which is inspiration. So when it goes direct, and in August it will be going, it goes retrograde in August on the 12th, and it goes direct in September 5th. So when it goes direct from the fire sign, there's a sense of being inspired, connecting with your inspiration. What am I inspired to do? So not only for you is this year really about developing your intuition, is using your intuition and then getting a fire lit underneath you to be inspired to follow through on it. Because a lot of times we can get intuitive hits, and then you go, okay, yeah, I got an intuitive hit, and do nothing about it and ignore it. So, but the universe is helping you to, light that fire of passion and inspiration to take action. And Jupiter will go into Scorpio on October 10th. So spends approximately 1 year in every sign. When it goes into Scorpio, that will help out your work world. It will help you take better care. It's meant to help you with your work world. The deal with Jupiter is there's no have to with it. It's just a good idea. It's just an opportunity. But if you're listening to your intuition, you will follow through on it, because you know it will be, it's there for you. You know, I mean, did you ever have an opportunity and say, not take advantage of it and think it was always going to be there, and then a couple years later and go, wow, I really missed that one. You know, when will that one come around again? And so when Jupiter goes into the sixth house of health and well-being and routines, that the little things you can do every day that impact the larger life, it also helps with just doing work that needs to get done, again, for the larger picture in life. And then as we're moving towards the end of the year, the energy really starts to shift, especially in December time. As when we move into that December cycle, Saturn will be out of Sagittarius and go into Capricorn. And there will be what's called an aspect, a mathematical angle, between Jupiter and Saturn. And this mathematical angle between Jupiter and Saturn is because Jupiter will eventually go into Capricorn, and an angle between Saturn and Pluto. I'm sorry, the angle will be between Saturn and Pluto, and will be setting us up for 2020, years away, right? But in 2020, there's this big new combination with Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all in Capricorn. So there's a major shift in energy at the very end of 2017, which will bring into 2018. And what that means for you, when Jupiter goes into Saturn, there will be when Jupiter goes into Scorpio, helping your work energy, your health energy. I want to take better care of my daily life and the routines of life so I can accomplish whatever bigger picture you have for the whole of your life. And then Saturn goes into Capricorn at the end of the year, which is shifting in the sector of your world that has to do about becoming free from any obligations that you no longer want, and becoming, and a lot of times it really represents using debt wisely and becoming debt free, right? And then those two together, right, end of 2017, moving into 2018, they may take a couple of years to coalesce and get it together, but it can be that by that time, 2020, you really could have that dream, that whatever your dream is of your ideal life, which is that larger picture, the larger context of what the universe is asking you to contemplate. But remember, it comes also from understanding yourself deeply, that very deep side of yourself, and using that intuitive knowledge that comes from sources that are beyond the intellectual, I know this because it's a fact, I know this because society tells me, really that gut knowing. Thank you so much. And there's a watch button underneath on the left-hand side, under that little icon, watch later button. If you click that watch later button, then you'll be able to refer back to this later when you're going into 2017. If you if you want to review something. Thank you so much. I appreciate you as listening and subscribing, and let me know what you think. Thank you.